Welcome back to Meg's Mysteries. This story is Madame DEMONICA. It is bright and sunny start to our vacation. We planned it all at the beach to make every moment count. That's what you do when you only have 2 weeks vacation. You must make the most of it. We are finally taking time off for a much-deserved vacation. Brian Reynolds and I are off on our first vacation in 3 years. Julie Taylor here. I am a news reporter and a very busy one, but it's time for some time off. I work for a major news station. You might have seen me on Channel 20. Julie Taylor, and it's happening now, reporting on all that is news. I'm the ace reporter and news anchor. Brian is my longtime boyfriend. He works at home and he's a very successful mystery writer. He gets a lot of inspiration from my real news stories. He changes the names and places to protect the innocent and has many fans of his mystery books. He has a great way of adding real-life crime into his fictional stories. The latest book, The Mayfield Murders, was very close to a real story that I reported on, so we inspire each other. Well, enough of that. This is time for fun in the sun with our two best friends, Patrick Daly, my co-worker and news photographer, who is always with me on the field assignments. Mary Lou Blackwell works with Brian as his illustrator for his books. We introduced them, and it was love at first sight, like I knew it would be. We all made a perfect group of friends, so they will be joining us in Wildwood, New Jersey, where I spent most of my summers as a youth. I love the beach and the boardwalk. We all rented a little cottage near the beach, just a short walk from the boardwalk. I couldn't wait to show all the places to enjoy on the boardwalk to all my friends. Some of them are still here, the same as when I was a kid. The arcade, the haunted house ride, the Himalayan ride, roller coaster. I spent many hours of fun and games here, and I know the others will love it too. We all settled in and went to the beach for the first day. Then we planned to eat on the boardwalk and see the sights. New Jersey pizza, cold beer, and funnel cakes with soft ice cream. Boy, that brought back memories. The one place I wanted to show them was the arcade, where there were all the old games of my youth and some new ones. It was right next to my favorite ride, the haunted house ride. You sat in a cart, and it takes you way up like a roller coaster into the doors of a haunted house. Then it takes you all around monsters, ghosts, and things that bump in the night, jump out and scare you to death. It takes you into a dark horror show. It was great. It always scared me, but I loved it. Now I know it's not that scary, but as a kid, it was the best ride ever. At the arcade, I was pleased to see my old favorite, Madame DEMONICA, an automatron machine. For a penny, she would tell you your real fortune. There are many kinds, and some are called genie machines. You might know some. One male version was Zoltar, who was in the movie Big with Tom Hanks. Also, Esmeralda, the female version. These are popular all over the world in all the arcades and boardwalks. So I'm glad she's still here. I put many a penny in her for my fortune cards, and some actually came true. I told Brian we must all see our future and see if we're going to have a great vacation. Then we have to go into the haunted house ride. He said, "You're such a kid." I told him, "I'll always be a kid at heart, especially here on the boardwalk." At first, the first one to put the penny was Mary Lou. Madam said, "Your fortune is in your hands." And then a card appeared. "You'll meet a dark, handsome stranger." Mary Lou laughed and said, "Madam, you're a little late. I've already found my handsome stranger." And then she hugged Patrick and said, "It's your turn." Patrick's card said, "Good fortune awaits you." He said, "Great, I probably will win a teddy bear." Mary Lou said, "I love teddy bears." Then Brian thought, "This is nonsense." And then he said, If Madame DeMonica knows so much, she should tell me something more personal, not so generic. I said, it's just for fun. He said, I'm only kidding, and then he put his penny in. Then Madame came to life as she turned her head and said, your fortune is in your hands now. And then the card appeared. A mystery awaits you near the midnight hour, so beware of what you will find there. Then he said, wow, that was a strange one. How'd she know I love a good mystery? Patrick said, you looked a little spooked, my boy. She must have heard you. And then we all laughed. I said, it's my turn. Hello, Madame DeMonica. Do you remember me? As I dropped the penny in, she turned, and I swear she smiled at me like an old friend. And then she said, your fortune is in your hands now, but beware, it's not what you want, my dear. I said, oh, she never said that before. She's only programmed to say what she told you all. It's almost like she's a real person. My card read, a romantic stroll in the moonlight along the beach. We will meet tonight. Under the boardwalk, Pier 3. That's where my body will appear to thee. I read it twice before I read it out loud. It was so strange and forbidding. Mary Lou said, that's a little too intense for me. Brian said, it's just for fun. Let's go check out the haunted house. This puts me in the mood for some real horrific fun. And then he sounded like Dracula. Come, follow me. So we decided to go and enjoy ourselves. I put the card in my pocket, and then I forgot all about it. So we had a blast and went to enjoy the rest of the boardwalk. It was late when we got home. Patrick and Mary Lou went in. Brian said, let's walk on the beach in the moonlight like your fortune. Or are you a scaredy cat? I said, okay, but I hope we don't find a body. And then we both laughed. We strolled along the moonlight, and it was warm and beautiful night along the shore. We walked so far, the whole beach, the waves crashing, the ocean sound, and we realized we walked as far as the boardwalk. Then we saw the piers. It was Pier 3. Then I noticed a card in my pocket. It was high tide when we started out, but now the tide was descending. The low tide was after 11, and it was way after 11. Now you can see the columns that hold up the pier very clearly. I just stared at them. I said, I see something that looks like it's tied to the column. Brian said, your imagination is at it again. Your news reporter's mind is looking for a story. And then he saw the look on my face and the horror in my eyes. I said, no, it's a body. Look closer. Like my fortune said, I found a body near Pier 3. But how and why? We got closer. She was there for a while. Her cold, dead eyes stared at the ocean. She was tied to the column. But she must have drowned in the high tide. Now her dead body was revealed to us. She was dressed in a mermaid costume with scales and fins. She wore a locket around her neck. It had a picture of a mermaid inside. It looked just like her. Sticking out of the locket was another piece of paper. I read it. Neptune awaits, your daughter of the sea. A mermaid you will always be. And now swim deep, dark sea. Nature claims their own. Signed, Force of Nature. We called the police and also called Patrick and Mary Lou to hurry up and come and bring his camera. They came before the police arrived, and Patrick took many pictures. I'll give them copies to the police. Mary Lou asked if I touched anything. I said the note, paper, was falling out of the locket, and I read it, and I took a picture with my phone. The locket was half open, and it must have been from the waves crashing against her on the high tide. I told the police already. They took it, and I told them who I was, and I promised I will not be reporting this yet until they give me the go-ahead. When we went to the police station, we were all questioned and released, and I was told not to leave. I said we plan on staying 2 weeks, even more if necessary. Brian said, let the police handle it. We're on vacation. So the next night we went to the boardwalk again. They seemed to love it. I was again drawn to Madame DeMonica. I put my penny in, and my card read, "Good fortune awaits you. You'll find who you are searching for. They are closer than you think." Then I swear she turned to me like she was human. We all got chills. This is crazy, right? Then we saw a man appear from the haunted house ride. He was the greeter for the ride. We see him the other night at the door of the ride. Then he saw me, smiled, and said, "Welcome to our haunted house ride. Come if you dare." Then he winked and said in a creepy voice, "I've seen you all before. Do come in for more. The house is always open for you all." And then he came very close to Mary Lou and me and whispered, "Especially for you young beauties." It just so happens the police were around, and they've been watching him for a while. Some other girls have been missing. And now, with the murdered girl, he was the main subject. He had been brought in before. He tried to lure young girls into the haunted house, but they had to let him go, not enough to hold him. And he didn't lose his job because he was the owner's nephew. This time they had enough to question him again. He cracked under pressure and yelled it was his job to lure people in. Then he admitted it. He was proud and yelled, "I am the force of nature. You can't hurt me." Just like the note on the dead girl's body, it was signed, "The Force of Nature." Then he said, "I returned her to the sea just like the others should be." How many he would not say. He said they are all now back at the sea to nature, as they should be. Mermaids home again in the deep dark sea. And then he just laughed. We all knew crazy when we saw it. So did Madame DeMonica know and was waiting for me to find the dead girl and help solve all the murders? How did she know I would come back after all these years and get my fortune? What do you think? Will you be putting a penny in for your fortune? You can see for yourself if she's much more than a mechanical machine. Madame DeMonica is always willing to tell you your fortune, past, present, and future. Why don't you go see for yourself? Have fun on the boardwalk. Well, I hope you enjoyed that story. Come back for more on Meg's Mysteries. Until next time, enjoy your evening.